The little girl was waiting for her 27-year-old nephew to pick her up from school. When she saw him arriving, her face lit up with a bright smile. Her nephew took care of everything for her, cooking, cleaning, and taking her to kindergarten every day. But where were her parents? That day, Jack went back home to attend his grandfather's funeral. At the entrance, he noticed a cute little girl holding a gentian flower in her hand. Jack asked his mother who the child was. His mother told him, "She's your grandfather's illegitimate daughter." Jack was stunned. "So, that makes her my aunt?" His grandfather had lived alone, and no one in the family even knew the girl existed. During the funeral, the little girl picked her grandfather's favorite flower and placed it gently in his hands. But his fingers were stiff, refusing to close around it. Jack crouched down, looking into the little girl's tearful eye. Then, unexpectedly, she spoke. Everyone froze. No one had ever heard her talk before. After the funeral, the question arose, who would take care of Lisa now? No one wanted to adopt her. Jack asked his mother if they could look after her for a while. His mother sighed and said, "Raising a child isn't as easy as you think," and turned him down. But Jack, acting on impulse, walked over to Lisa and asked if she'd like to come live with him. She clung tightly to his sleeve. His mother and sister both thought he had lost his mind. From that day on, Jack's peaceful single life was turned completely upside down. Every morning, before he could even open his eyes, Lisa was already hungry and demanding breakfast. He started regretting his decision almost immediately, but then he'd look at her sweet little face at the table and his heart would melt. When they went out, she'd always grab his hand without hesitation. Jack's mother reminded him that raising a child was exhausting work, but Jack couldn't help feeling sorry for Lisa. She had no one else. All she owned was a small bag and a mother-child health book. Inside, her mother's name was written Masako Yoshi. Jack even took Lisa shopping for clothes. He was surprised when she only picked pants. She told him, "We can't wear skirts in kindergarten." That's when Jack realized she was old enough for school. He had no idea how to handle that. Just as he was worrying about finding a kindergarten, his sister, who worked at one, called him. She said there was a 24-hour kindergarten, though it was pretty far from his company. Since Jack often had to work overtime, that was his only option. The next morning, he took Lisa on the subway during rush hour and ran with her all the way to school. When he turned to leave, she looked up at him with pleading eyes, afraid he'd never come back. So he knelt down, hooked his pinky with hers, and promised he'd pick her up after work. Then he rushed off to catch the next train back to the office. After work, Jack ran straight to the kindergarten. He worried all the way. Had she eaten? Did anyone pick on her? When he finally arrived, out of breath, Lisa's face lit up with joy. He bought her a doll, played games with her, and took her out for dinner. Slowly, Lisa began to open up. She went from a quiet, withdrawn child to a cheerful little girl. Jack even bought new running shoes so he could get to her faster. But the non-stop pace eventually wore him out. He asked his boss to transfer him to the warehouse where he wouldn't have to work overtime. He gave up his high-paying position just so he could spend more time with her. One morning, Jack woke up to find a wet spot on the bed. He checked his pants. Dry. That meant his 6-year-old aunt had wet the bed. Lisa insisted it was sweat. Jack didn't call her out on it. Later that night, he woke up again and saw her changing clothes. Another wet patch on the bed. He gently told her she could wake him up next time, but Lisa just mumbled that it was sweat. Jack didn't want to embarrass her, so he said softly, "Whether it's sweat or something else, you can always wake me."